part 2 of the WH question words plus how. And I'm naming it the usage because that's what we are going to look at. So it is important to improve your written and oral question and answer skills. Very important. To do this, we need to know and understand the correct question structure in English. Now, there are some good news. English question structure is fairly consistent, which makes it very easy to remember and to practice, hopefully. Okay, so let's begin. Now, before we actually go into the new lesson, we just need to remember the 6 different WH question words that we studied yesterday, plus how. Okay, so to do this, to review, we're going to complete a very simple activity. So I'm asking you to please pause the video, download the activity, and complete it. I'm sure you're going to do just fine. Now remember to refer to yesterday's notes. Let's dig into our topic for today. And the first thing that we're going to need in order to make WH questions or how questions is, yeah, you got it. The word, the WH word, right? So that is the first thing that we need. That's why it's so important that we remember what they mean and how to use them. We're also going to need an auxiliary verb. Okay, so there are several in English. There are so many that I'm not going to take my time to mention them all. But I'm going to go ahead and start with the 5 more common ones that we have and that we use in the English language. Okay, so we have the different forms of the verb be, the different forms of the verb do, the different forms of the verb have, the verb can, and the verb will when we're writing future tense questions, correct? And sentences too. Okay, so we are also going to need a subject. Every single sentence and questions are a type of sentence need a subject. And remember that the subject is who or what the sentence is about. Who are we talking about? What are we talking about? That is the subject of the sentence. Subjects are usually found at the beginning of the sentence, although sometimes they are not. Especially we have a dependent clause to begin our sentence with. So keep that in mind. Subjects are nouns, so people, animals, things, places, and of course the pronouns. Never forget the pronouns. Okay, so we also need the action verb or the linking verb. Okay, so we're going to need one or the other. This is always there. Okay, so we always have an action verb or a linking verb. Verbs, just like subjects, are always part of forming a correct, grammatically correct question in English or sentence. So here is what we need, right? WH or how question word, helping verb, subject, and main or linking verb. The main verb is part of the linking verb. So this is what we always need. So let's practice making some amazing questions in English. So here we have it. This is a sentence that we have. What have you done? So there's something missing at the end, right? Okay, we'll get to that in just a second. So as I mentioned before, we need our question word, what? We need our auxiliary verb, have. We need our subject, you. And we need our main verb, done. And we always, every time we have a question, we have to have a question mark. Okay, let's look at another example. So which sweater does Rosa need? Again, we have which one is our question word? Very good. Which? What else do we need? Yes, we need an auxiliary verb. Then what do we need next? We need our subject. And finally, what else do we need? Not finally, but close to finally. Yes, we need our main verb, and we can never forget our question mark to end the question properly. Let's go ahead and look at some things, okay? So here we have it. Now, remember to conjugate the auxiliary verbs. Yes, you heard me right. They also need to be conjugated. So do I need a do or do I need a does? It depends on the subject, right? So if my subject is a plural subject or a subject that has one of these pronouns, then I'm going to use do. And of course, I am talking only for the present tense here. So what do I need? What do you need? What do we need? What do they need? Let's go ahead and practice that pronunciation. Please do repeat after me or with me. What do I need? What do you need? What do we need? What do they need? Yes, we use do when it is plural or for I. How about now? Look at this. So do I need do or do I need does when I am writing a question using the present tense and the auxiliary verb do? Well, if my subject is singular, then I'm going to need does, right? What does he need? What does she need? What does it need? I can also replace that with names. What does Tom need? What does Mrs. Brusson need? What does the cat need? Okay. Now let's look at another verb, okay? The same. So remember to conjugate the auxiliary verbs. And this time we have the verb have. And remember, we're talking about the present tense. Okay? So what have I done? Just repeat after me. What have you done? What have we done? What have they done? Don't forget, we use the word or the auxiliary verb have when the subject is what? That's right. When the subject is plural. That's right. Just remember that. Don't forget. Now, if my subject is singular, then I am going to use the form has as my auxiliary verb, as you can see over here. So let's practice pronunciation, okay? What has he done? What has she done? What has it done? Now remember that we can always change our subject for a noun. What has the student done? What has Tom done? What has Miss Brusson done? What has she done? What has Mary done? What has the cat done? So let's take a moment now, pause the video and write one sentence using the auxiliary verbs have in the singular and the plural form. Did you write your sentence or sentences? Great. So let's continue. Now we have the verb be, and as we well know, the verb be has different forms. Okay, so here is a good example of the verb be. Now, in the present tense, when I am using a plural subject, then I'm going to use the form are. What are you cooking? What are we cooking? What are they cooking? What are you playing? What are we playing? Okay. Now, if we were going to do it in the past tense, what is the form that we need? Good job. Yes, were. So what were you cooking last night? Right? So let's practice the pronunciation using what we have here on our screen. So just repeat after me or with me, up to you. What are you cooking? What are we cooking? What are they cooking? Now, most often, I don't like to say always, but usually we need to remember the ing at the end of the main verb, like I have it right here, when I'm using the auxiliary verb be, okay? Any of the forms. Just remember, they kind of go together. They're married, okay? So if I am writing questions using a singular subject, then I'm going to use the form is, or which one for the past tense? Okay, yes, was. So what is he cooking? What is she cooking? Or what is it cooking? So almost there. We have only two more to look at, and they're very simple. So we have the future tense, or the auxiliary verb for the future tense, will, right? And what will he read next? What will she read next? What will it read next? Okay, so let's go ahead and practice the pronunciation, please. What will he read next? What will she read next? What will it read next? I want you to notice something really interesting about the auxiliary verb will. Look at it. Do you see that? It does not change. So whether the subject is plural or singular, we always use the same form of the verb will. And it is for the present tense. So there's no qualms with that, right? Okay, so let's go ahead and look at the next one, the auxiliary verb can. What can he do about it? Just repeat after me. What can she do about it? What can he do about it? And that is when when the subject is, yes, singular. When the subject is plural, then look at that. It doesn't change. That's right. So those are two very easy ones to remember, right? What can I do about it? What can you do about it? What can we do about it? What can they do about it? Very good. Now, let's go ahead and review the things that we need to write sentences in English or to formulate sentences in English, because they can be also orally, right? So first we need the WH or how word, right? Next, we need an auxiliary verb. Not always, but most times we do need one. We always need a subject. Always need a subject. We most often need a verb, a main verb, and I'm saying most often because sometimes, we always need an action verb or a linking verb, and we always have to have our question mark right there. So don't forget that, okay? Now it is time to practice. That's right. So what I'm going to ask you is to download the practice form that I have uploaded together with this video and take the time to practice. And when you finish practicing with my form, then practice making your own questions. Remember that one of the main things that you need to know as an English learner is to ask questions, right? It's part of our curriculum and part of what we need to do. And with that, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for being here during my lesson today. Thank you for participating and stay tuned for the next lesson. Have a great day.